Hey, today we are looking at some unprofessional and rude emails. We are going to analyze them, talk about what's wrong with them, and of course, make them better. Let's go. So many times when writing professional emails, a lot of people are very focused on making sure that their grammar is correct, their spelling is correct, their vocabulary is correct. And while these things are very important, it's often that people don't think about or they overlook the tone of their email. Now, I've talked about tone in some other lessons because it is very, very important. The tone of your email is basically the feeling that you create for your reader when they are reading your email. So whatever feeling you create for them. And tone is not an easy thing to get right, but it's extremely, extremely important because it is a reflection of you and it can completely change the way that your message is received. All right. So to help you understand this concept of getting the right tone and identifying the wrong tone, we're going to take a closer look at some sections of emails that come across as rude, direct, and unprofessional. And of course, we're going to analyze them and fix them up together. So here is our first example. Hello, Joe. Why haven't you completed the report yet? The deadline is tomorrow and you're holding up the whole team. Please get it done ASAP. So if you need to, pause and have a look at this email again. Let's just quickly go over some of the vocabulary in this email. So the phrasal verb hold up, you're holding up the whole team, means that you are delaying the team. You are causing a delay. You are holding up the team. You are delaying the whole team. And ASAP stands for as soon as possible. Okay, so that's our first example. Now, what exactly is wrong with this? In terms of the language and the English itself, there is nothing wrong with this. It is grammatically correct. There are no errors, spelling, grammar, all of that is okay. However, this email is very unprofessional. So what's wrong with this email? The tone of this email sounds very frustrated. It sounds like you are frustrated. You are also making your reader feel guilty. You're telling them because of you, the whole team can't do their work. There is no understanding or empathy or positivity in the sense where you want to find a solution. You're basically just pointing the finger and saying, you're not done. Why are you late? You're creating a problem for the whole team. That's the tone of this message, okay? And the problem with writing an email or a message like this is that your recipient will naturally feel defensive. They might feel guilty. They're going to feel bad. They might feel stressed or panicked. So this message, even though it is important, even if you are frustrated, even if this is an urgent report, whatever the case may be, this message will not be well received and it's not the most productive way to deliver this message, all right? So let's fix it up. Let's make it more diplomatic and more professional. So instead, we could say something like, hello, Joe. I noticed the report is still pending completion and I want to remind you that the deadline is tomorrow. I understand that the current workload is challenging, but it is crucial for our team's progress. Would you be able to provide me with an update on the progress and let us know if you need any assistance? Thank you. So you can clearly see the difference between the original email and this revised version. In the new version, the tone is completely different. It is diplomatic, it is polite, it is professional. You are still addressing the problem. You're still bringing up the issue of, okay, the report is late and it's due tomorrow. That is very clear. However, your tone here is much more supportive, understanding, and collaborative. That is very important. Supportive, understanding, and collaborative. So you're saying, I know that you have a lot of work. I know the workload is challenging, and you are trying to find a solution. You're trying to find a way to help rather than just saying, you're late. What's the problem? Why do you not have this done? Okay. As well, sending an email like this is going to preserve or protect the professional relationship that you have with this person. So this email has most likely been sent from a manager or a supervisor to a member of their team or a member of their staff. And it is important for you to preserve and protect that working relationship moving forward, even when there is an issue. You always want to try to focus on finding a solution, understanding the issue, and being diplomatic while you're doing that. So if you need to, you can rewind a little bit and read this email again, read the revised email again, and pay attention to how it makes you feel as the reader. Now, if you would like to learn more about professional email writing, this is a topic I cover in detail in my Essential English for Business course. This is an online self-study course designed to help you communicate with confidence in the world of business and teach you all the fundamentals you need to know. I will link the Essential English for Business course down below the lesson so you can learn more. Okay, let's look at another example. Dear Joe, you are always late to our meetings. It is incredibly disrespectful to waste everyone's time like this. Please start showing up on time. Okay, so what is wrong with this example? What is wrong with it? Again, the language is correct. Technically, there are no mistakes, there are no errors. So the English that is used here is correct. There's nothing wrong with it. But it is not the best choice. Of course, someone showing up late is unacceptable. It's not great. It's unprofessional. It is inconsiderate. However, we want to find a more diplomatic way of saying this, okay? The tone here is very confrontational. It's almost like you want to start a fight with Joe for being late. That's how it sounds. So put yourself in Joe's shoes, put yourself in the reader's shoes, and think about how this message or how this email makes you feel. Maybe you have a valid reason for being late and you haven't been able to discuss that yet with your manager. Okay. The language used in this email is very strong. Phrases like incredibly disrespectful. Naturally, your recipient or your reader is going to become defensive. That is the most likely response to an email like this. They're most likely going to become defensive. All right. So instead, we want to create a more open communication. We want to be more diplomatic, more professional, more polite, of course, while we are addressing the problem of Joe always being late. So instead, we could write something like this. Dear Joe, I've noticed that you've been arriving a bit late to our meetings recently. I understand that schedule can be challenging, but punctuality is crucial for our team's productivity. It is also important that we respect each other's time. If there is anything we can do to help you arrive on time in the future, please do let us know. Thank you. Okay, so with this revised version, right away, the opening sentence is much softer. I've noticed you've been arriving a bit late recently. Maybe it's not a bit late, maybe it's not only recently, but this type of language softens your message, but the message is still clear. A lot of times English learners feel like using quantifiers like a little bit make your message weaker, but that's not the case. It is still crystal clear. The message is crystal clear. This just softens the tone and makes it more polite. This email is also delivering the message in a much more positive and understanding way. You're acknowledging that, scheduling is difficult, and if there's a problem, let us know how we can help. Okay. Now, if there is no problem and this person is just not leaving for work on time or whatever the case may be, they are still more likely to respond to this email in a positive way. The tone of this message is much more respectful, collaborative. It leaves room for open communication. It's much more understanding, diplomatic, positive, and professional while still getting the message across. So hopefully you're noticing the common points here. We always want to be diplomatic if possible. We want to offer solutions where possible, be collaborative, be understanding, respectful, okay? So let's look at one more example. Dear Joe, it has come to my attention that your recent performance has been below expectations. It is imperative that you improve immediately. Failure to do so will result in further consequences. All right, so in this example, Joe has not been performing up to the standard that you are expecting, and you're writing this email to tell him that. Now, again, the language, the grammar, the vocabulary choice in this email is correct. It's at an advanced level. However, it is not the most appropriate tone, even for a situation like this, when you have an employee who is not performing well or underperforming, not meeting their targets, whatever the case may be. All right. So again, let's fix this up. Let's make it more professional. We don't want to hurt Joe's feelings as much as this email is currently doing. So instead, we could write something like this. Dear Joe, I wanted to take a moment to discuss your recent performance. I've noticed some areas where there is room for improvement, and I believe that with the right support, you can excel even further. Let's schedule some time to sit down and discuss these concerns in more detail. Does Tuesday at 11 work for you? In the meantime, I am here to provide any assistance or resources you may need to help you meet your goals. Looking forward to our conversation. So, in this revised version, you are letting Joe know that you're concerned about his performance and you are offering him help, support, collaboration, and this is your role as a manager, right? It is your responsibility to make sure that your team has the tools they need to succeed. So if they're not succeeding, there might be a reason. Perhaps they need to be retrained. Perhaps they don't have the tools and the resources and the support that they need to be successful. There's lots of different reasons, okay? So the tone here is very different. It's clear that you want to offer some understanding to Joe. You want to know what's been going on and how you can help. Okay, very different tone than our original email where you just said, okay, you basically need to fix this and perform better right away or else. Okay, that's very threatening. That's very intimidating. It's not the most efficient approach, especially when, again, you need to protect that professional relationship. It's always important to keep that in mind when you are writing an email to someone. You always want to think about your tone. You always want to think about how this will be received, how it will sound, how it will come across, and how it will affect or impact your working relationship with that person. This is something, again, that a lot of people kind of overlook, forget about, or don't think about, especially when there's a problem or a challenge, like someone showing up late or someone underperforming. All right, so keep these points in mind. So now you have a grasp on how to assess, think about, and perfect the tone of your emails. But if you do want to learn more about this topic in detail, make sure to check out the Essential English for Business course. If you enjoyed this lesson, please do give it a thumbs up, leave a comment to let me know, and subscribe to help this channel reach other English learners all around the world. Thank you for learning, watching, and spending time here today. I'll see you very soon in another one.